All right, let's talk about the whole 9mm versus 40 debate. Um, I've got some views on it, and both are effective cartridges. My personal preference is 40. I do also carry 9mm as a backup. Um, both are effective self-defense rounds. The 40 came into popularity in the mid 80s after the Miami-Dade shooting, where several FBI agents were killed, even though they shot the suspect several times with their what they were using at the time was, I believe, 38 special, and a few of them had the 9mm. Um, Despite several of the wounds being fatal to the individuals that were shooting at them, they weren't man stoppers, meaning they didn't drop the assailant immediately. Granted, the assailant would have eventually died from the wounds, but it didn't immediately stop the threat. Um, and let's face it, it comes down to shot placement. Uh, there, and there's really, I don't want to say only two off switches on the human body, but the ocular cavity is a primary off switch, and the thoracic cavity, specifically the heart. Also, if you get a spinal shock, that's pretty much gonna stop the threat immediately. Now we're talking, fist-sized targets. The ocular cavity is not very big. You know, that right there, the heart is usually about the size of the individual's fist, and the spinal column is even smaller as far as it's very narrow, but it's long, runs through the neck down to the hips. So yeah, it's longer, but a lot narrower and harder to hit. Most training facilities will train for thoracic cavity or ocular cavity. Um, so 40 came into popularity, and I want to back up there because back in that time period, this was before PC culture was real popular. Um, the FBI and most police departments were able to choose from the cream of the crop. Uh, a lot of police officers and FBI agents and such had previous experience with firearms and firearms handling, whether it be military or some other form. Nowadays, police departments and FBI agents will hire just about anybody who can meet their minimum standards, even if they've never handled a firearm in their life. Um, it will give them proper training. So nowadays we've got what we call quota hires. That's a direct reference to Think Like a Cop, which if you haven't checked out his channel, he's got some good advice. Um, but his views on quota hires are right on point. They're a detriment to the communities that they serve. Um, Nowadays you can have this 120-pound, cute little adorable female out there playing cop, and same thing in the military. They allow these quota hires in, and I for one would not want to rely on that cute little 120-pound female to pull me out of a deadly situation. Uh, Google any police shootings or police assaults, and you see the reality of what happens with these quota hires. Not all of them. I mean, some of them I'm sure do fine, but a lot of them uh, get themselves into some shit that they need a man to get them out of. And it's unfortunate, but that's due to this PC culture. And how this relates to the whole 9mm and 40 thing is, my belief is, with the FBI coming out and transferring back from 40 caliber to 9mm because they find that more effective for their agency. Well, that's because their agency, now that it's PC, has a lot more female agents. And let's face it, the 40 caliber is a little bit harder to shoot. It's got considerably more muzzle flip than the 9mm. It's got more felt recoil, and it's probably a lot harder for females to qualify on a 40 than it is a 9mm. So my opinion is that that is why the FBI is switching back to 9mm, is so that their agents can qualify. Specifically their quota hire agents. And that's not to say that the 9mm is not an effective self-defense round. It is. My opinion is that a 40 is a better self-defense cartridge. The same exact technology that exists in 9mm ammunition, as far as chemically bonded and how it has progressed over the years to make it more effective. That same technology exists in any caliber. You know, you can go out and buy, let's say Federal HST is your choice of 9mm ammunition. You can buy that same exact 40 caliber Federal HST that is exactly the same, only it weighs more. Now, the way I like to compare it is a hammer, okay? If let's say that the 9mm is a 20-ounce framing hammer, and let's say that the 40 caliber is a 32-ounce framing hammer, and you're out there, you know, working an 8-hour day, swinging that hammer. Well, which is going to drive the nails faster? Let's put it that way first, okay? The 20-ounce framing hammer, you're going to have to hit that nail several times to drive it in. The 32-ounce framing hammer, you're going to have to hit less because you have more weight behind the tool driving the nail. Now, at the end of the day, you're probably going to feel it a little more because swinging 20 ounces over 32 ounces, it's going to, you know, beef up your arm a little. You see where I'm going with this? 40 caliber is a man's round, and the reason why the 9mm has become so popular is because a lot of FBI agents are female, a lot of police officers are female, and they need to be able to qualify. So it all comes down to PC culture, in my opinion. Anyways, that's today's Jacketed Hollow Points and my non-PC view on the whole 9 versus 40 debate. Thanks for watching. Please give us a like and subscribe.